The small Earth probe Hope's Dawn drifted silently through the darkness near Proxima Centauri. Captain Lee Jinwoo had launched it from Luna Station 3 months ago with a simple mission: reach the nearest star system, collect data, and return home. It was humanity's first successful faster-than-light ship. No bigger than a school bus, but packed with the most advanced sensors Earth could build. What Captain Lee and his team did not know was that they were being watched. High above the probe, invisible ships observed the small human craft with growing concern. These vessels belonged to the Galactic Council, ancient beings who had ruled space for over 50,000 years. To them, the appearance of another species using faster-than-light travel was deeply troubling. "Another young race has found dangerous technology," said Counselor Vextheri. Her body was made of living crystal that glowed with soft blue light as she spoke to the other council members. They must be stopped before they cause damage. The council had seen this pattern many times before. Young species would develop faster-than-light travel, then spread across the galaxy like a disease. They would fight wars, destroy planets, and upset the careful balance the council had worked so hard to maintain. The solution was always the same: immediate control. Send Ambassador Zefkari. Order High Counselor Zarthex, the oldest of their kind. Standard pacification protocols. Ambassador Zefkari was a being of pure energy, his form shifting like colored smoke as he moved. He commanded the massive warship Eternal Dominance, a vessel so large it could swallow Earth's biggest cities whole. The ship's dark hull was covered in weapons that could crack planets in half. Within hours, the Eternal Dominance appeared in Earth's solar system. Every radar screen and satellite detector across the planet screamed warnings as the alien ship took position directly above Earth. The vessel was so massive that people could see it with their naked eyes, a black that blocked out stars. In the United Nations Strategic Command Center in Geneva, Director Park Sun-ho stared at the display screens showing the alien ship. Around him, military officers and scientists worked frantically at their computers. Phone calls poured in from every major government on Earth. "Sir, they're sending us a message," reported Lieutenant Kim Nari from her station. The main screen flickered and showed a strange figure made of swirling energy patterns. When it spoke, the words appeared directly in everyone's minds rather than through their ears. "I am Ambassador Zefkari of the Galactic Council. Your species has broken galactic law by developing faster-than-light travel. Without permission." President Udeho leaned forward in his chair. He had been rushed to the command center when the alien ship first appeared. "We did not know such laws existed." "Your ignorance does not excuse your crime," Zefkari replied. His voice was cold and without emotion. "The Galactic Council has kept peace in this galaxy for 52,000 years. Your reckless experiments threaten this peace." Secretary General Kong Myri stepped closer to the screen. She was a small woman, but her voice was strong and clear. "What do you want from us?" "The terms are simple. First, you must give us all of your faster-than-light technology and research. Second, you must accept council oversight of your planet. Third, you will be classified as a junior species with limited rights to develop new technology or explore space." The alien's words hit the room like a physical blow. Everyone understood what this meant. Earth would become a prisoner on its own world. "How long do we have to decide?" asked Director Park. 72 hours. If you refuse, we will take what we need by force. No species has ever refused the Council's authority. Do not be the first to make this mistake." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in shocked silence. Outside, news reports were already spreading panic across the globe as people learned that humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and that their new neighbors wanted to make them slaves. Director Park looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Some looked terrified, others angry, but all understood the magnitude of what they faced. "Get me every military commander on the planet," Park ordered. "Every scientist, every engineer. I want everyone who has ever worked on space technology in a secure facility within 6 hours." "Sir, what are we going to do?" asked Lieutenant Kim. Park stared at the empty screen where the alien had been. "We are going to do what humans have always done when someone tries to take our freedom. We are going to fight." As alarms echoed through military bases around the world, humanity began the largest mobilization in its history. They had 72 hours to decide the future of their species. The choice was simple: surrender their dreams of reaching the stars, or face the most powerful force the galaxy had ever known. In space stations and underground bunkers, scientists worked through the night. They had intercepted some of the alien ships' transmissions and were already learning disturbing truths about their new enemies. The Council's idea of peace looked very much like slavery for everyone else. The clock was ticking, and Earth's answer would shake the galaxy. The United Nations Assembly Hall had never been so crowded. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat in tense silence, while floating above them were 7 shimmering holographic forms, the members of the Galactic Council, projected from their capital world far across the galaxy. Secretary General Kong Myri walked slowly to the podium. She had not slept in 3 days. Behind her sat the people who would determine humanity's fate: Admiral Cho Woozing, commander of Earth's small space fleet; Dr. Song Yeji, the planet's top scientist; and Director Park Sun-ho, who had spent every hour since the ultimatum preparing for this moment. The 72 hours were up. Earth had to give its answer. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Kong began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. We have carefully considered your demands. Counselor Vextheri's crystal body pulsed with impatience. Her voice cut through the air like ice. Your obedience is not optional, primitive creature. Give us your technology now, or we will take it from your dead planet. Kong smiled, an expression that somehow made the alien observers uncomfortable. We spent the last 3 days learning about you. Did you know that your council has destroyed the dreams of over 300 species? That your junior species program is just slavery with a fancy name? Angry sounds erupted from the council projections. Their translation devices struggled to convert the alien fury into human language. "How dare you speak to us this way?" shouted Council Morthek. "We dare because we know the truth," Kong replied calmly. "Dr. Song, please show them what we found." The young scientist stepped forward and activated a large holographic display. It showed detailed record of Council history, battles, suppressions, and conquests spanning thousands of years. "We have been listening to your communications since your ship arrived," Dr. Song explained. "Your quantum encryption was impressive, but humans are very good at breaking things that seem impossible to break." The display showed battle after battle, each following the same pattern. Council forces would overwhelm younger species with massive fleets, then force them to give up their technology and freedom. Species that could have reached distant stars centuries ago were still trapped on their homeworlds, using only the technology the Council allowed. "You have not built peace," Dr. Song continued. "You have built a prison. Every species in this galaxy lives in fear of displeasing their Council masters." Admiral Cho stood up from his chair. He was a tall man with gray hair and steady eyes. "Which brings us to our answer to your ultimatum." He looked directly at the Council projections floating above the assembly. "No." The single word echoed to the hall like thunder. Even the human delegates gasped at the boldness of it. "We will not give you our technology. We will not accept your guards watching over us. We will not be classified as anything less than free people with the right to choose our own path among the stars." Counselor Vextheri's form flared bright with rage. "You sign your species' death warrant with this foolishness. No one refuses a council. Ever." "Then we will be the first," Kong said firmly. But Dr. Song was not finished. "There is something else you should know. We have been very busy these past 3 days. She activated another display showing technical diagrams that made the council members lean forward with sudden concern. "We reverse-engineered your faster-than-light communication system. We also analyzed your ship's hull composition, your weapon signatures, and your shield frequencies. Humans learn very quickly when their survival depends on it." "Impossible," breathed Counselor Zarthex. "Your technology is centuries behind ours." Director Park stood up with a data pad in his hand. "Was centuries behind yours. We have been making improvements." He activated his tablet, and new images appeared. Construction sites on the far side of the moon, hidden asteroid bases, and ships that looked nothing like Earth's previous space vessels. "While you waited for our surrender, We prepared for war, Park explained. Every weapons factory on Earth has been retooled. Every spaceship has been upgraded. Every person with scientific training has been working on ways to level the playing field. The council members exchanged worried glances in their strange alien languages. You cannot possibly match our fleet's strength, Counselor Vexteri said, but her voice now held a note of uncertainty. Admiral Cho smiled grimly. We do not need to match your fleet. We only need to make the cost of conquering us higher than you are willing to pay. Secretary General Kong stepped forward one final time. You came here expecting us to bow down because every other species has done so. But humans are different. We have been fighting for freedom since the first human picked up a rock to defend their family. We will not stop now just because the enemy comes from the stars. The transmission ended abruptly as the Council cut the connection. In orbit above Earth, the massive alien warship Eternal Dominance began transmitting new orders to the Council fleet waiting at the edge of the solar system. The message was simple. The humans had refused. Pacification would proceed by force. But as the alien fleet began moving toward Earth, they did not know that human eyes were watching them from hidden bases throughout the solar system. The real test was about to begin. Earth had chosen defiance over slavery. Now they would discover if courage could overcome impossible odds. The Council war fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like a metal storm cloud. 200 massive warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel and formed the ancient battle pattern that had crushed countless worlds before. Each ship was larger than Earth's biggest cities, bristling with weapons that could turn planets into dust. Fleet Admiral Kelnoth stood on the bridge of his flagship Universal Order, watching the tactical displays with cold satisfaction. The humans had managed to gather maybe 30 small ships to defend their world. Pathetic toys compared to the might of the Council fleet. Begin the demonstration, he commanded his crew. Destroy their outer space stations. Show these primitives what happens when they refuse the Council's mercy. His officers moved to obey, targeting the human orbital platforms with precise weapon strikes. On Luna Station, hidden on the far side of Earth's moon, Admiral Cho Woozing watched the approaching enemy through advanced sensors. Around him, the command staff worked with calm efficiency that seemed impossible given the terrible odds they faced. Sir, all defense platforms are ready, reported Commander Han. Jisul from her station. What about our hidden assets? Cho asked quietly. Asteroid bases Delta through Kappa are armed and waiting. The automated defense grid is online, and Captain Lee Miho reports the Indomitable is in position behind the moon. Cho nodded. The Indomitable was humanity's first real warship, built in secret using technology stolen from Council transmissions. It looked like a human ship on the outside, but its heart contained innovations that no alien had ever seen. Captain Lee, status on the special project? From the Indomitable S-Bridge, Captain Lee's voice came through clearly. The quantum disruptor is ready, sir. Dr. Base Sora confirms all systems are working perfectly. The first Council attack struck 3 orbital stations, vaporizing them instantly in brilliant flashes of light. The remaining human ships scattered like frightened birds, seeming to retreat in complete panic, exactly as Admiral Cho had planned. Predictable, Admiral Kelnoth muttered as he watched the humans flee. Begin the second phase. Destroy their remaining ships and prepare to land troops on their planet. But as the Council fleet moved deeper into the solar system, something strange happened. The scattered human ships did not continue running away. Instead, they began moving in patterns that made no military sense, weaving between the much larger alien vessels with impossible speed and precision. What are they doing? Admiral Kelnoth demanded as he watched the small human craft dance around his mighty warships. His answer came in the form of explosions rippling through his fleet. The humans were not retreating. They were leading the Council ships into a trap. Hidden weapon platforms that had been disguised as space debris suddenly came alive throughout the solar system. Asteroids that looked empty revealed themselves as armed fortresses bristling with human-built weapons. Impossible! Admiral Kelnoth shouted as his perfect battle formation began falling apart under coordinated attacks from every direction. The Council ships tried to respond, but their weapons were designed for fighting other large warships, not swarms of small, fast-moving targets that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Human ships would strike quickly, then vanish behind asteroids or space stations before the aliens could return fire. Then something happened that had never occurred in 50,000 years of Council dominance. The Indomitable dropped its invisibility shield directly behind the Council flagship, appearing like magic only a few kilometers from the Universal Order-S engines. Dr. Bay Sora's quantum disruptor fired for the first time in actual combat. The massive alien ship's shields, which could withstand planet-killing weapons, simply ceased to exist as if they had never been there. This is Captain Lee Miho of the Earth Defense Ship Indomitable, came the transmission that reached every Council vessel. You wanted to test our strength. How do you think you're doing so far? Admiral Kelnoth stared in shock at his shield displays, showing nothing but empty space where his defenses should be. Around him, his crew worked frantically to understand what had happened. Sir, they have some kind of new weapon, his science officer reported. It disrupts the quantum field that generates our shields. How is that possible? They are primitives. But even as he spoke, more human ships appeared from hiding places throughout the solar system. Ships emerged from behind moons, rose up from planetary rings, and detached themselves from asteroids where they had been waiting in perfect camouflage. The Council fleet, which had expected to face 30 human vessels, suddenly found themselves fighting over 200 enemy ships that seemed to multiply by the minute. Sir, we are receiving damage reports from across the fleet, his communications officer announced. The humans are using weapons we have never seen before. Some kind of self-replicating attack drones that eat our hull armor. Admiral Kelnoth watched in growing horror as his proud fleet, the terror of the galaxy, was torn apart by an enemy that should not have been able to hurt even one of his ships. Signal a retreat to the outer system, he finally ordered. We need to regroup and call for reinforcements. But as the surviving ships tried to withdraw, they discovered that the humans were not content to simply defend. Earth's vessels pursued the fleeing Council fleet, striking again and again with weapons that adapted and improved with each attack. The mighty Galactic Council had come to crush a primitive world. Instead, they found themselves running for their lives from an enemy unlike any they had ever faced. 3 weeks after the first battle, Fleet Admiral Kelnoth stared at reports that made no sense. He had lost 67 ships to an enemy that should have been destroyed in hours. His mighty fleet was being slowly picked apart by humans who seemed to learn and grow stronger with each fight. How is this possible? He demanded of his officers. How are they adapting so quickly to our tactics? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yun Jae-min, a human prisoner captured from a damaged scout ship, sat calmly in a detention cell aboard the Universal Order. Unlike other species the Council had captured over the centuries, he did not seem afraid. In fact, he seemed almost eager to talk. You really do not understand us, do you? Dr. Yun said when Admiral Kelnoth came to interrogate him personally. You've been fighting the same wars with the same methods for 50,000 years. We've been fighting each other our entire history. The alien admiral studied the small human through the energy barrier of the cell. What is your point, primitive? Humans do not just survive. We turn everything into a weapon. That asteroid mining station you destroyed yesterday, it was also testing new explosives. Those simple ships you have been chasing, each one has been modified at least 6 times since the fighting started. As if the humans' words were a signal, alarms began screaming throughout the flagship. On the tactical screens, Admiral Kelnoth watched human ships doing something that broke every rule of space warfare. They were diving straight toward his vessels at maximum speed. Suicide attacks, the Admiral said dismissively, desperate and wasteful. But the human ships did not explode when they reached the Council vessels. Instead, they released clouds of tiny machines that attached themselves to the alien hulls like metal parasites. Within minutes, these microscopic robots began eating through the armor plating, turning the consumed metal into more copies of themselves. We call them nanobots, Dr. Yin explained casually. Usually we use them to heal people, but Lieutenant Park Hyojin had an interesting idea about self-copying weapon systems. Admiral Kelnoth watched in horror as his ships were slowly consumed from the outside in. The nanobots spread across each vessel like a metal disease, and no weapon the Council possessed could stop something so small. Meanwhile, on Earth, Director Park Sun-Ho coordinated the defense from a command bunker buried deep beneath Geneva. Around him, scientists and military officers worked together at stations displaying real-time information from across the solar system. The Council fleet is trying to retreat to the outer planets, reported Colonel Kim Tae-yoon. Should we let them regroup? Absolutely not, Park replied. Dr. Choi Seung, what is the status of Project Prometheus? A tired-looking woman looked up from her workstation. She had not left the bunker in 2 weeks. The automated shipyards are running perfectly. We are completing 18 new warships every single day. 18 ships per day? Park asked in amazement. We are using their own materials against them, she explained with a weary smile. Every Council ship we destroy becomes raw materials for our construction robots. At this rate, we will have more ships than they do within a month. Park turned to the main display, where human forces were engaging Council vessels throughout the solar system. Every battle showed the same pattern. The aliens would start with an advantage, but the humans would quickly adapt and turn the fight around. The Council keeps using the same attack patterns, observed Dr. Choi. They never change their tactics, even when those tactics fail repeatedly. That is because they have never needed a change, Park replied. For 50,000 years, superior numbers and technology were enough. They have forgotten how to innovate. On his tactical display, Park could see the results of human innovation everywhere. Ships that rebuilt themselves during combat, weapons that learned from each shot and became more accurate, defense systems that evolved new countermeasures faster than the aliens could adapt. Signal all fleet commanders, Park ordered. Begin Phase 4. It is time to take this fight beyond our solar system. In space, Captain O. Sungmin received the order aboard his ship Defiant. Around him, his crew prepared for humanity's first offensive operation against Council territory. Sir, the target is a Council supply depot in the Alpha Centauri system, reported his navigator. Intelligence says it is lightly defended. Good, Captain O replied. Let us show them that Earth is no longer playing defense. The Defiant and 12 other human ships jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying weapons and tactics that the Council had never seen before. Behind them, the automated shipyards continued their work, building humanity's fleet larger every day. Back in his cell, Dr. Yun Jae-min smiled as he felt the ship shudder from another human attack. You made one critical mistake when you came to our world, he told his alien captors. What mistake? Admiral Kelnoth asked. You assumed that because we were younger, we were weaker. But humans do not get weaker when we face a stronger enemy. We get creative, we get angry, and we get very, very dangerous. Outside the cell, explosions echoed to the Council flagship as human nanobots reached the power systems. The proud vessel that had conquered dozens of worlds was being destroyed by machines too small to see. The Council was learning that humanity's greatest weapon was not their technology. It was their refusal to accept defeat. The ancient Council chambers on Nexus Prime had not seen such panic in 50,000 years. What started as a simple mission to control a primitive species had become the greatest disaster in galactic history. Of the 200 ships sent to pacify Earth, fewer than 20 had returned home. Counselor Vextheri's crystal body flickered with distress as she addressed the emergency meeting. Her voice cracked with fear as she spoke to her fellow Council members. The humans have not simply defended their world. They have attacked our bases in 6 different star systems. Our mining colonies are fleeing. Our communication networks are falling apart. This cannot be happening, declared Counselor Morthek, his voice shaking. No junior species has ever fought back successfully. It is impossible. They are not a junior species. Vextheri shouted, her form blazing with desperate light. They are something we have never encountered before. They become stronger with every battle. Every time we hurt them, they learn new ways to hurt us back. On the giant display screens around the chamber, reports flooded in from across Council space. Human ships, their designs changing and improving with each engagement, had struck supply depots, destroyed communication relays, and even attacked military bases that had stood untouched for centuries. The humans were not just defending Earth anymore. They were taking apart the entire system that had kept the Council in power for millennia. High Counselor Zarthex, the oldest and wisest of their kind, finally spoke from his place of honor. His ancient voice carried the weight of ages as he said the words no council member had ever expected to hear. Recall all fleets. Begin evacuation of non-essential colonies. We must negotiate with the humans. Shocked silence filled the chamber. Never in the Council's long history had they been forced to ask for peace terms from a species they had tried to conquer. Far from Nexus Prime, Captain O'Sungmin stood on the bridge of his ship Defiant as his task force approached another Council stronghold. The alien base was already launching escape pods, its defenders fleeing before the humans even arrived. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission," reported Lieutenant Ko Sung-woo from a station. "It is coming from the Council homeworld." Put on the main screen. The image of High Counselor Zarthex appeared. The ancient being's form radiating defeat and exhaustion. For the first time in thousands of years, a council member was asking for mercy instead of demanding obedience. Human Commander, the council wishes to discuss terms for ending this conflict. Captain O leaned back in his command chair, studying the alien who had once seemed so powerful and threatening. Terms? That is interesting. 3 months ago, you offered us slavery or death. What has changed your mind? Your species has proven that it cannot be contained or controlled, Zarthex admitted, the words clearly painful for him to speak. We seek an end to hostilities. Then you should talk to Earth, Captain O replied. We do not make policy. We just fight wars. Back on Earth, Secretary General Kong Myri sat in the same United Nations Assembly Hall where she had defied the Council months earlier. This time, the 7 Council members appeared not as conquerors demanding surrender, but as defeated enemies begging for peace. The terms are simple and non-negotiable, Kong began, her voice carrying the authority of a species that had proven it could not be bullied. First, full recognition of human independence with no restrictions on our development or expansion. Second, immediate freedom for all species currently under Council control. You would destroy the Council system entirely? Counselor Vextheri asked, her crystal form dim with despair. We would fix it, Kong replied firmly. Turn it from a tool of oppression into what it should have been from the beginning, a place where equals can work together. Director Park Sun-ho stepped forward, carrying a data tablet filled with plans that would reshape the galaxy. We have prepared transition documents for every suppressed species, technologies you have hidden from them, star charts you have restricted, knowledge you have hoarded for yourselves. Everything gets shared freely. The galaxy will fall into chaos and war, Morthek protested desperately. The galaxy will finally be free to grow, Dr. Song Yeji countered. Yes, there might be conflicts, but there will also be progress, innovation, and hope, things you have prevented for 50,000 years. High Counselor Zarthex looked at the humans with something that might have been respect. You would reshape the entire galactic order based on your ideals. We would give every species the same choice you try to deny us, Kong replied, the right to determine their own future among the stars. The council members spoke among themselves in their ancient languages, their forms flickering with uncertainty and fear. They had ruled through strength for so long that they had forgotten how to exist as equals. Finally, Zarthex turned back to the humans. We accept your terms. The words echoed through the assembly hall and across human space. Earth had not merely won a war. They had liberated an entire galaxy. Within 1 year, 17 species declared independence from council oversight. Within a decade, the old system of oppression was completely dismantled. New alliances formed between species that had been kept apart for millennia. Innovation exploded across the galaxy as suppressed civilizations finally had the freedom to explore and grow. And it all began with humanity's simple response to an ultimatum they could not accept. The age of council dominance was over. The age of freedom had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.